Okay, y'all. Hello. Welcome to Confused Creative. This is my first episode, so I'm a little, a little anxious in this bitch, but it's fine. I'm really excited because today's guest is none other than Alante Jones. So first of all, for you all that do not know who Alante Jones is, he is an entrepreneur, a creative director, and a brand strategist. So, just a little background. Alante is from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised. He graduated from Detroit School of Arts High School, and after high school, he relocated to Dallas, Texas. So while in Dallas, Texas, he worked as an account manager and a business development manager. All the way up until he was 26 years old, he decided to take that leap of faith and start his own businesses. So in 2020, Alante finally created House of Deshoune and the Link Up. So without further ado, everyone give a virtual round of applause to Alante Jones.
Okay. Make it clap.
Now that that's out the way, I know, I know all of this. If you all don't know, Alante and I have been best friends for, I would say, about 15 years. I think it's about 15 years. A long ass time. I count it. It's definitely 15.
Is it 15? Because it was so you knew, I have seen you in 6th grade. We seen you in Mr. Roby. I thought everybody in Mr. Roby class looked weird, but don't fight me, y'all. That was then, not now. Y'all look good now. The glow up is real.
It's real as hell.
But in 7th grade
is when we connected.
8th grade? 7th grade. So 7th grade, we were 13. I am 27, 25 for the record. Okay, so yeah, about 15.
About 15 years. Okay, so about 15 years. Alante and I have been friends. And when we first met, we really just bonded over, I would say, just comedy. Comedy, laughter.
You're sugarcoating it. You're calling it comedy. You're really a clown. And that's the true tea of it.
Well, we both were whole ass clowns, but I will say I was on the wild side and I brought it out of you. And literally, our relationship, I feel like we just bonded over laughs, and we were both very energetic. We loved to dance to everything.
Girl, tear the parties down. Swag switch. What?
Swag switch. We had a swag switch. It was what a time, I would say. But outside of all of that, I feel like even as kids, we always talked about our dreams and our goals. You were probably one of my first friends who I used to set goals with. For example, with prom, we knew what our plan was for prom, years before. Prom, and even just I guess, goals that we want to do in life. I remember we had a conversation about Barack Obama and how we wanted to meet him one day. We always had a bigger vision for ourselves, I would say.
Yes. Girl, so do you know what my memory, one of my memory of our bonding moments is when we would read scriptures on the phone. I don't know if you recall, but we would literally sit on the phone. It would be late at like 9, 10 o'clock. And we would be sitting reading scriptures. It's the pouring for me. It's we
always had that relationship, always poured into each other, just boss friends, just really at a very young age. Yeah, I've been with you literally when you were dating women.
First of all, did you write that down? Did you write that down and bring that up? Because I feel like you came prepared with that in your pocket.
Oh, we're gonna get into some things. We'll get into some things, but we'll get into that. But like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, we both been with each other, whatever. The point is we locked in, and I appreciate you being here today. Now with that being said, we both grew up in Detroit, whatever, went to middle school and some of high school. No, we didn't go to high school together, just middle school together, but we stayed.
Well,
We went
freshman
to
year.
ninth grade. Yeah, freshman year. We had
But that
freshman
was
year.
the year that set the tone.
Yes, a lot happened that year. So, but my question is like, how did like your school life, your at home life, growing up in Detroit in general, like how did your teen years shape you for like who you are now?
Oh, girl.
What do you
Over here drinking at the key part. I should have been. Wow.
But or what like if you could even throw out some monumental things that happened from sixth grade all the way up until now, or all the way up until you graduated high school, like what were those things that really shaped you and helped you become Alante Jones?
There's a time period in that in what you mentioned, from really when I was like 16. So I'm not gonna say the man's name, but right after that my first breakup, I found myself like a little bit more in tune with me, having been able to experience, the side of me that had been closeted for so long, because, I came out at 16. So on the heels of that, to come out and then experience, kind of teen love. And so now you have this understanding of yourself. So now you can kind of, if you're a creative, you can kind of tap a little bit more into yourself, because you've lived a little bit, you've experienced. That's what creativity is. It's experience in the form of art. And so because of that, I found myself, drawing. Like, I don't know if you recall the shoe line that I wanted to have, Tay Devon. When I was stitching shoes, and I wanted to have the men's cosmetic line. And there was all these things that I then wanted to do that were very creative after that. So to answer your question, yeah, that would be something that definitely made me, because a lot of those dreams that came from those sketches and that living in the future moment period, if you would, has come full circle. When you look at House of Deshaune is in essence the stepping stone of Tay Devon. When we look at what the goals of the brand are, it is Tay Devon. When we look at, how I wanted to direct music videos one day, now here I am, not music videos, but directing photo shoots and things like that. So it all came full circle for me. So it makes me feel like I ask myself the question sometimes, like, was I manifesting and didn't realize my full powers, or?
Right. So I really like that. How creativity is experience in the form of art. I like that. So when you came out at 16, now I was there, and
wait, is the timeline wrong? Was I 15?
No, that's wrong. You were actually you were probably 14.
I was in ninth
This was
grade.
Freshman year. Yeah, you were 14.
Grade. It was 2 days after Valentine's, after my first Valentine date with a girl. I will say
you couldn't do it no more.
Shout out to Kiana, because let me tell you something. Sis has been living and she looks great. Like, I'm proud to say that was my last girlfriend or date. So shout out to her. But that was ninth grade. So 2 days after.
So you were definitely either 14 or 15. You were in ninth grade. Now, I was going to say, I remember this time, but for those that weren't there, tell them what it was like to because that's young. If you think about, like, it's not young now, but back then in 2009, that was young to be out. So like, what was that like? And especially the type of school we went to, like, what was that like?
You know, I sometimes feel like I had one of the more positive coming out stories. You know, I don't have any in terms of my home life and my immediate family. I didn't experience any shunning or anything like that. Um Coming out for me, it was so weird. I texted my cousin as we were on the way to the bus. I mean, to the mall, and we're sitting on the bus across from each other. And she's like, "Why did you text me this? Is this a joke?" And so, um, shortly after that, I won't get into the details because it's not a pretty story on other people's behalf. But
Right, for you.
of course, from there, it then got to my mom within the same day. And so I remember going home, and my parents were just from coming at me from a perspective of we've always known. Like it was almost like when I came home, it was almost like a like welcome for finally coming home type of. That's what that
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
conversation felt like. It really was that. And I remember for me, I was always really afraid of what my dad would think. And
mm-hmm,
so that was one of the reasons that kind of made me pin it up. But what's so crazy to me is that he did most, if not all of the talking. My
mm,
mom just kind of just co-signed everything that he said. He was the
mm-hmm,
most embracing. Not to say that my mom was,
mm-hmm,
but he was the one who I felt his hug the most, so to speak.
mm-hmm.
So in home, it was great. I had a really like it would be a cute little Lifetime movie, like, oh, he's cute, he came out,
Uh,
everybody loves him. School would be like, oh.
yeah.
It was interesting because a lot of people that I thought were my friends that I never once thought of in that way. I've always held brotherhood like kind of tight,
Mm-hmm.
a straight, whatever. It's always been important to me. So I always kind of like held that brotherhood type relationship with some of these people. And it just was almost like just because I'm gay, it just never happened. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, well,
Right.
we gonna act like we didn't talk on the phone like every day, just shooting the shit. Like,
It's
but
like
that
some type of code that niggas got. Like, I don't know.
and
But that's true brotherhood, like you said, gay, straight, whatever. Like,
yep. And I'll say some of my middle school friends that I had that brotherhood relationship, some of those people have remained tight. We don't talk as
mm-hmm.
much, but if ever I'm in the city and I'm like, hey, you want to hang out or what's up, I would get a warm response. And so that's enough for me. So it goes both ways, but it was a hell of a time. A hell of a
Yeah.
time.
So you would say that like your like that time and after you came out, I imagine that you started like expressing yourself more freely because that is normally what happens.
Oh,
So
for sure.
that's when like the fashion and I mean you was pretty fashionable beforehand, but I feel like after you came out, it's like the gloves are off.
Remember,
Like,
and you said the gloves are off, but remember the glove, the rhinestone glove that I had?
did you have that? Why did you?
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know if I remember
It
that.
wasn't like it wasn't Michael Jackson rhinestone. It was more of like Adam Lambert rhinestone. So like I had okay, everybody, safe space, everybody in the
Yeah.
comments. I had remember the belt buckles that everybody was wearing from the jerk era, like hey jerk, they had the studded, hot topic belts. Yeah. So you
All
could
right.
actually pop those studs off. And if you had the right fabric, you could take those studs and put them onto anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
but dazzle on a budget. So me, what I did, I was like, you know what? After I had seen Adam Lambert's first album
Oh,
cover,
you were obsessed
yes,
with Adam.
upset, upset. Like speaking of like that time period, he was someone who was in mainstream that motivated me and made me feel comfortable to
Yes.
be expressive from a fashion
Yes.
without labeling garments, you know.
Yes.
But anyway, I was so inspired by that I had took the studs off of my belt and like put it onto my gloves. So yeah, creativity definitely flourished after he came out the closet.
So after high school, you left the bitch and you moved. Like, no, let me not say it like that. But after high school, you moved to Texas, to Dallas, Texas.
Oh yeah.
How did that experience like change your life? Like I just moved to a new state at 26, but for you, you were young, like you were more of a baby than I am. And yeah, just what was that like? And like, do you feel like you would be where you are without moving? Like, did it benefit you? Were you sad? Like what did that experience do for you?
I've never thought about what it would be like if I hadn't moved. I've never really really given it a thought. But what I can say is it was monumental for the person that I am today. Just
Mm,
because you're even though you move with your family, you're separated from everything that you knew about your environment, your habitat. Think about just animals in their own habitat. If you when you take them out of their habitat, they have to reconfigure everything about the way they live their lives, how they gather food, where they sleep,
yeah.
what they like, what they don't like. Maybe this habitat has, more a higher or denser atmosphere or something. There's so much that changes, so much like that. Or for them, for us, it's the same thing. So I literally was thrusted into adulthood, working full time, basically. Um,
Right. Cause
Literally working full time. So the money back then, what it felt like to me was the money bags was flowing.
yeah.
They was flowing, but at the same time, I could see that there were so many opportunities and so many different ways that I could go in life. And
Mm-hmm.
so just being here and taking advantage of those opportunities and being strategic with them have definitely landed me where I am today. In
Yeah.
combination with that da 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 from Detroit.
Ah. So now you didn't go to college, but you still
Dilly dally. I did a little walk through a little
well,
community college and then a
yeah.
little here and there.
Okay. So my question is going to be like, do you feel like, for anyone that's listening, that's like debating, like, oh, should I go to college? Should I just hop right into the real world? Like, I mean, obviously, I feel like everyone is different. Like, so it's not like just one strict type of advice, but like, I
Yeah.
think we had this conversation before, like, I went to college and I got like college fun, and then you moved, but then you got to do like super adult things that I wasn't
Oh, I had
doing.
college
And
fun at your 21st birthday party. Yeah, we gonna say that since you talking about me coming out. That party was lit.
oh, it was though, and it should have been televised. That's how lit it was. That was one of the best birthdays, but
Girl, that party bus, that should have been televised.
that's what I'm saying. Like that should have been televised. It hasn't been a birthday like that since 30 will be such. But yeah, because we talked about this before, like college, and like how some people feel like they
Yeah.
missed out, or some people feel like, oh, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be in college because like, what do you think about that?
I just feel like, you have to first, everything really and truly, when it comes to decisions in life, you have to just make sure you know yourself. Be in tune with yourself and what your ministry is. And by ministry, what your gifts are, what your talents, what your lane is. And once you kind of figure that out, you can kind of know what's the best route for you strategically to build the path to that.
Even at
So
like 18, like 17,
I
18,
feel
like,
like
because I was completely didn't know shit at that age.
I could see that at 18. Okay.
I
I
mean,
feel on some level to make any decision, you have to feel like you know yourself regardless. But
yeah,
in regards to do you have to go to college to be what you want to be in life? For some people, yes. If it really depends on how you learn. If you're able to learn through the real life experiences that life throws
yeah.
at you as you're just jumping off the deep end, like
Right.
it
And
works.
and for a person like me, I need structure to learn. Like I need structure. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and I've been like, that's something that I've recently been like kind of conflicted with, because just on the journey to like be an actor and all this other stuff, like this is the first time that I don't have like someone coaching me through, kind of telling me what I mean. I do have like coaches that I watch and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's just me. Like, I'm not in a class with anybody. I can't ask a classmate, like, and it's like hard sometimes. It's like hard to be like motivated on your own.
Girl, look,
But for some people
enough
that,
for that. That'll preach all day.
yeah, let me get my White Claw chill. But for some people, like, oh, we not advertising them now.
Cover that up.
But for some people, like you, like some people work better alone, and with that da da da, like, so yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's something good to know, is like, do you work
Yeah.
better alone, or do you need structure? Like what? Like,
Because how do you learn really and truly? Like, are you gonna be okay learning by hopping from one job to the next, which is part of a career path that's leading to what your ultimate purpose is?
right.
If you're able to learn like that, then yeah, absolutely. But if you feel like, I got some questions, I feel confident, but I still want to, maybe I want to be in a more in an incubated space, kind of where I'm amongst my future peers and we're all learning and growing together. That's totally okay. It just,
Yeah.
again, it's up to
I feel
how you work.
I feel like college is like, it's not the real world, but it's like the real world in a bubble, and you get
Yeah,
to like experiment with stuff like in a enclosed space. But it's life is the same way. Like, you got to try things out to see if you like them, and you will never know if you like them if you don't really try them.
exactly. You need that
Um,
experience for that creativity to just flow.
yes. So family, like, so was your mother ever like an influence to like your career, or are y'all like on completely different paths? Like,
Wow. Girl, you just all up in the business. All up in the business. So
I'm gonna
it's
ask about
so
everybody.
interesting because not a lot of people know what my mom does. They just know that she is an entity. So I'll just shed a light on what she does, and then I'll be able to, then when I explain it, you'll be able to be like, oh, okay, well then yeah, she has to influence you. There's no way around it. So for starters, she has a corporation, a trucking corporation, which is the holding company to two LLCs. In addition to that, she's in the process of developing her nonprofit, which has technically been organized since 2015. And before that, she was a project manager for Toyota, working in their IT department. So when Toyota moved down here to Dallas, she was one of the ones that was swooped up on over.
Mm,
And so in addition to the trucking and the nonprofit, I believe she's sitting on the board of one or two organizations. And so with the development of the nonprofit, she's actually contracted the link up. I'm gonna just say it because she did. The invoice cleared. Okay. She contracted the link up to help her with her strategic planning in the development process of that nonprofit. So to answer the question, yes, she does influence me every day. Now I'm okay saying that because I'm helping other people, but don't tell her that, y'all. Don't tell her that I said that.
she probably know.
I'm just joking. No, she definitely knows. I give her her props. I definitely make sure I give her her flowers as often as I can. I just don't outwardly say, "Oh, girl, here's your flowers." I like to just sprinkle them in conversations to let her know that I do be listening. Keep her
Right.
on her toes. Keep her agile.
Right. Okay. Now in 2018, you lost your father. So didn't mean to make that like a
No.
a bitter moment, but I just think that is something to talk about. Like, when you're on your path, like losing a parent is like, it shakes some shit up. So like, did it shake your shit up? How did it shake your shit up? Was there like, how do you deal with grief? Like what do you do? Like, how is that, like, as a, a young man still in this world, like you lost your father, or the man that raised you? So like, how do you deal with that? What's the grief process like, and has it fueled your creativity? Did it stifle it?
Girl, it's so interesting to think about how a great loss can really motivate you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that when you experience it, it almost makes you wonder, God, is this why we experience loss?
Mm-hmm.
To keep us motivated to live, to show us the value of what we have. Um, so it's interesting when you again think about how it just motivates you. Of course, it knocks all of the wind out of my body. Okay. Like I remember the day that he told me that he was sick. I remember laying on the bedroom floor, like writhing in pain, crying. Like I
Mm-hmm.
physically was hurting when he told me that he was sick because
Mm-hmm.
my stomach just sank with at any moment this could go way, way left. But when it did go left, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say it's not as bad as I thought it would be, I didn't lose my mind. Um I didn't like lose my way. I didn't lose my path.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened was my mental shifted. My mental shifted because it woke me up to be able to discern the value of the different things that I'm doing in my everyday life. So what purpose is, I'm just going to say it, what purpose is working this job serving me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at any moment I could leave here. At any moment my mom could leave here, and what would
Right.
I was working not by requirement, by choice, but I still was working in the hospital the week that he was passing.
Right.
So afterwards, it just made me think when I went back, it was like, I don't care about any of this anymore. I
Right.
only want to do things that I actually care about and that are actually in alignment with what I should be on this earth doing. And
Right.
so eventually the light bulb in my head finally snapped that was like, you have to own your own because you can then control your time. When you can control your time instead of prepaying, catch that prepaying, because that's what when you get paid, prepaying your time, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you need a payment plan. Everybody needs a payment plan. Nothing wrong with that. But when I can take back my time, I can work more closely and more in alignment with my purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
so that jolt of listen, some shit ain't oh, can I say that? Some ain't important. You got to be able to as the greats
Yeah.
reclaim your time.
It's
Reclaim
like it reminded you, like it gave you that sense of purpose. It's
it
like,
literally
yeah.
woke me up. It was like you know that you could be working above your potential, and working above your potential may include you working on your own. And it took a minute. And I realized that the reason I was still at that job is because everything that I was doing at that job, shout out to Jennifer Stamp, everything I was doing at that job molded me to be able to do what I'm doing at the Link Up. So had I not been working that job, I wouldn't have the know-how or the business acumen to run my
Right.
own organization. So I later was able to answer that question, but it woke me up.
Okay. Who child? So that you were working corporate jobs, it's like you always knew you wanted to venture off, do your own thing.
Well,
But
I mean, for a minute, I kind of detested the idea. I
mm,
felt like that's just gonna tie me down to do more work. Like, why would I want to?
right, right.
So
Um,
for a minute, I didn't want to at all.
but your transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. So what was the straw that broke the camel's back? What was it that was just like, fuck this shit, I'm out? Like,
Girl, this is a funny story. You got me up here talking about all my business. So this is a funny story. And this is funny because So when I was working when I was working as a business development manager at my job that I kind of had a love-hate relationship with, like my longest job I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was still interviewing for other positions. And so one company that I had interviewed for, the Judge Group, I was like, I always wanted to work at the Judge Group. They always seemed like they had good job postings, like the employees liked it, their building was nice. And so, excuse me, I went through like this extensive interview process at the end of 2019 going into 2020. No, yeah, yeah, 2019 going into 2020. So literally a year later, almost to the day when I was unemployed, they finally called me and offered me a job. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is the Judge Group. Like I'm gonna go to work. Like I thought in my mind, I'm gonna be one of those people that works, and then I'm just gonna flip all that money over to my own organization. Cool, good deal. Get in, flip it, and then get out. So I'm working the job, and the manager that I had, I don't think that I've had that much of a pleasurable experience with a manager in my life, just in terms of the transparency in his communication. Like I've never experienced anything like that. Like kudos to him. However, the caveat with that was what felt like a little micromanagement to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had also had went back into the office. So even before the pandemic, I was working from home. So I had been out of the office for like 2 years. So now here I am back in the office, and you're micromanaging, and low key, no tea, no shade. The position that I'm working is something less than what I should be working, even though the salary was matched. So okay, cool, big deal. But it's a lot of ands for me. Okay. And so I started working literally, I think January 1, January 2. My birthday is January 29th. Or no, I started working mid-January, the end of January. They called me at the beginning of January. So 2 days before my birthday, I just said to myself, you know what? I don't want to work. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel confident that my God is going to take care of me, because I know that I'm
Mm-hmm.
in what he's placed in my spirit, because it wasn't the first time. I just chickened out the first time and went back. And so I finally was like, you know what? I shouldn't have been back here in the first place. And so I resigned. And my manager was like, are you sure your birthday is in like 2 days and rent is due on the first? He's like, do you have another job? I was like, no, I don't have another job. Mm-mm. But because I was in the job market, jobs were still calling. And so, literally, this is true 100% how this happened. Before I could get to my car, because I didn't even finish out that day. So, before I could get to my car, there was a company on the line that was literally basically saying they wanted me to start the following week. And so instead of me taking that job, what I said to those people was, well, actually, because the link up had already been incorporated before I stopped working. So I said, well, actually, I have a business development firm. This is when we started. We wanted to start off doing just business development. So I say to him, I have a business development firm. So maybe instead of hiring me, why don't you just contract us? It could be cheaper for you. And that, my friends, is how I stepped out on faith and became self-employed. Never
So
looked back.
so you had after all of the micromanaging and just your time being taken up, those were, what I'm asking is, what are those, are the main things, are those the main things that made you want to quit?
It's when you think about, at least for me, I just felt like I didn't have any time to explore myself. I felt like I'm working. And one thing, and the reason why it's such a big deal for me is because when I work, I work. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give you, you're paying me for 100%. Well, guess what? The gag is I got a good 250% in the bag. So what's up? So I'm gonna give you all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I'm giving that, because I don't know anything else, I feel like I'm giving and giving into something that, yeah, it's paying my lifestyle, but I'm not really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I can't, if I'm tired one morning, I have to still get up.
Yeah.
Like, and not to mention, like, and even before that last job that I worked, when I was at my longest running job, towards the end, there was one particular individual that made it uncomfortable for me. And it became uncomfortable for me because, number one, the tremendous amount of respect that I hold for women and the things that they go through. And it became hard for me to watch them have to endure some of those things in such a close quarters at the hands of someone who really and truly is not sitting above me. And so it became a little uncomfortable shortly after I expressed it to some people, not to management, not like it was a retaliation, but it became uncomfortable when I expressed that I was uncomfortable to some people. And certain things then happened. And then, of course, I was grieving, so I became a little bit more edgier. So as things are uncomfortable, I'm now more prickly. So it just became a very uncomfortable environment. And for a minute, it made me think that it was working that I didn't like. And so when I decided to go try another job, I was like, okay, well, maybe those things won't follow. But I still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And so when I left that job and went to another one, I was met with some of those same things that I got at the one prior. So it really was just a culmination of I just want to have control over my time and how I live my life.
Right. Her. So, okay. So now you quit your job and you launch two businesses at the same time, or?
On paper, no. On my papers, yes. In terms of the work that started in the background, same time.
Okay. Okay. So, first of all, my first question is I want you to like tell my audience about your businesses. I want you to talk about the Link Up and House of Deshoune and why you decided to start those businesses and what they mean to you.
Yeah. So for starters, my first baby that I kind of talked about was House of Deshoune. House of Deshoune really and truly just is a fashion house for urban luxury. That is the goal. That is the dream. To start, we started exclusively by selling like some of the hottest sunglasses. Like literally, it was bananas last summer. Like a literal pop-up shop tour
It was
happened, and
indeed
everybody
bananas.
enjoyed it. And I liked all of the love that I got. Because I launched two businesses, I wasn't able to be as actively engaging with some of the love that I was getting in the beginning. So House of Deshoune, again, urban luxury, it's a fashion house. I would like to implore everybody to stay tuned because one thing about me is that as it gets warmer, I start to pop out a little bit more. I start to give a little bit more. And so naturally, my babies, my brands are going to give the same thing. So House of Deshaun is only going to continue to grow in terms of what we offer and things like that. So,
But right now you all sell sunglasses.
yes, right now we are still doing sunglasses.
But stay tuned, bitches, because more to come.
Because it's always going to give.
Now your second business is the Link Up. Talk about that.
Okay. So really and truly what the Link Up is, it is a creative branding and marketing firm, particularly for small businesses that are either women and or Black owned. Actually, I said I wasn't going to do that anymore. I said I was just going to say small businesses.
Okay, so now you want to transition to just small businesses. You like, I need that other race coin. Go ahead.
That's what it is. So yeah, so the Link Up is a creative branding and marketing firm for small businesses. It really started because, again, when I was working as a business development manager, you're able to see a lot of what goes on in other departments because you're supporting, multiple clients. And so you have to be the funnel, everything has to funnel through you. So there's a lot of cross-departmental activity. And so in doing that, I'm seeing all the inner workings of how this so to speak, not small business, but small business is running and thriving, making millions across the US, you know? And so when I did decide that I'm not going to work, I'm like, okay, well, you have to kind of, or if you don't want to work, you have to figure out what are you going to do to support yourself? Well, what do I do? The thing that I do is business development. So when we started initially back in June of 2020, we started primarily offering business development. So our main case studies were literally just helping them develop, helping them with their operations and things like that. Fast forward to now, where we are now focusing more on branding and marketing because those are more of the key elements that some of our small businesses are missing. And so, what we thrive on doing is we have consultants that can come in and do everything from social media management. If you're having any marketing campaigns that you're needing someone to maybe help develop or anything like that, we really take care of that. So anything from a branding and marketing perspective, we're able to take care of. So
Nice. So you help small businesses. Edit it out. Okay, so you so you help small businesses elevate their brand. So specifically, you work on like social media, content, you work on websites, help them find graphic designers, pulling pieces together for a brand. Because you also have a lot of connections and you know people that can help them with their brand as well. So that's what's up. So anybody that has a small business that needs help with brand development, you can find the link. Is it at the link up?
At this link here. No, I'm joking.
No, I might do that though. I might do it though. Follow the link
up. Edit it out.
I'm not. Anyways, yeah, what's the website? What's the Instagram? How can these small businesses find you?
Everybody can tap in. Like, I always like to have everybody go to the website. I know people don't like reading websites these days, but go to the website because we really put a lot of work into developing these websites. So www.the-linkup.com. If you're looking for anything from social media management, web design, graphic design, if you need someone to just literally, maybe you just need a brand consultant to help you organize your brand and rebrand, give us a call, give us a shout at this link here.
Give us a call, child. Oh, and also House of Deshoune, where can they find these sunglasses?
House of Deshoune, yes. You can always find us on Instagram. It's literally House of Deshoune, but Haus Child, Haus of Deshoune, Deshoune. But I feel like everybody watching this know how to spell Deshoune. Catch that. So yeah, House of Deshoune, child.
Okay, so just a few more questions, Alante, because I know you're a busy man. So like anybody, there's a lot of people that like want to take that leap and are tired of working their jobs, have a business idea. Like at what point do you think, what's some advice that you will give someone that wants to take that leap and quit their 9 to 5 and become an entrepreneur? Because I know that the entrepreneur life ain't all kicks and giggles either. So like what's some advice you would give them if they want to go into that entrepreneurial life? And what is your entrepreneurial life like? Like what, like be real to the audience. Let them know like what that life is really like.
So let me just say this. One thing, I know it's great to have a story where you're like, oh, you know, by the time before I could get to my car, I had a call and it was a contract. Like, it's great to have a story like that if it happens for you that way, but understand that it does not always happen that way. 9 times out of 10, you're going to try to stand up and take that leap, and something's going to happen and smack you back down. And then when you stand up again, it's going to smack you over to the right. And then you're going to be like, well, damn, I just learned how to get up from the bottom. So now it's going to keep smacking you. So you have to be prepared for it. Know that, you know, be strategic. Yes. The number one thing that an entrepreneur is able to thrive at, we are able to make strategic decisions in a time where really time is just of the essence.
Yeah.
So if you can be strategic with taking that leap and
Yeah.
know that you're gonna have to try to take it a couple times, and
Yeah.
so you develop that tough skin, you're gonna do great, sweetie. You're gonna do great here.
But
You're
have a
gonna do great.
plan is what you're like. Have a
And
plan,
that is what I'm saying. You have to be
a
strategic.
strategic plan. Yeah.
And if you have to write it down, write it down. If you feel like, I never tell people to put it on their phone, but if you need to put it in your phone, put it in your phone, but get it out of your head and onto something that you can look at and begin to process and work through in your mind. So
Mm-hmm.
all of that is a part of being strategic. Being strategic.
Yeah. And I feel like that's with any big move, like whether you're any big transition, like if you're looking to
Oh,
move to a
yes.
new state, be strategic. If you're looking to start a new career path, be strategic before you leave your old one. Like I feel like in this creative field, strategy is so necessary, like because everything is not black and white. It's not like you're going to school to be a doctor and you have to do this amount of years of schooling and you need this amount of hours. It's not like that. It's literally wow, like
Yeah,
so
it's like,
yeah. Strategy number one. But what is your current work life like?
notifications going a couple of seconds ago. This is
Wait,
what it's like.
you was breaking up, but say
Oh,
that again.
I was saying, did you not hear these notifications going off a
Oh
couple
yes.
minutes ago? Like, this is what it's like, y'all.
Two phones, child.
And ain't not a drug deal going on.
Her.
But no, really and truly, my work life is, I'm finally balancing myself. I'm learning the importance of giving my all to my baby, my brand, but not letting my baby, my brand take me before I can give it to the brand,
Right.
if that makes sense. So I'm learning to give time to myself to enjoy and not feel like I need to be working at every waking moment of the day, and realizing that it's okay if you take some time to go grab a drink or, sit out on the patio or whatever it may be. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm learning how to balance, but prior to learning how to balance, it was a hot mess.
Right.
Because I'm still new, I'm still very, very,
Yeah.
like, very, very new. And so
Right.
there's a lot of that, when you try to stand up, you're gonna get knocked down, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The great Cash Down said that you'll never be a boss if you never took a loss.
Yeah. No,
So
and that's
I'm
real. That's
taking some
real.
losses.
Um Now, wait, before I move on, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to ask you about your job. Oh, no, I asked that at the end. So you're a creative, like you have businesses, but you're mainly a creative. So I want to know what is like something that you struggle with creatively, or what are some challenges that you face when you're in your creative process?
I have these repeat challenges that come up for me. They come up when I bring on a new client, because typically with a new client, you have to show them what you're thinking for whatever project it is. So there has to be some kind of proposal that is presented in the beginning of that relationship. So whenever I have to go and present the proposal of, now that we've done the consultation and I know what the project is, am I back?
You back? All right.
Okay. I saw you froze, so I froze.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, in the beginning of bringing on a new client, when I have to show them that proposal of what I'm thinking for the project creatively, I'm always literally shitting bricks. There's no way around it. Like, I am always shitting bricks. Like, are they gonna like it? Are they gonna tell me no, give me my deposit back? Are they gonna say no, I'm calling the Better Business Bureau? Like, find out next week on the next episode of, like, I'm always shitting bricks every time I have to show them
Have
that
you
proposal.
have you had someone tell you no, that they don't like it?
I have.
And how did you get through that? How did you deal with that?
So ironically, So it was a referral. And so the person that referred the person to me later was telling me about an encounter that they had with the person. And when they told me about their encounter, I finally told them that, well, you know what? I had something similar. The person is just one of those people that is very particular and just
Mm-hmm.
really won't be satisfied unless she does it herself. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very tough. Like it was very, very tough because of course it was a situation where I was kind of I the client was attempting to potentially, how do I say this politically correct? I believe that the client was trying to get me to believe that I was maybe like monopolizing their time for the sake of making money.
Yeah.
And it's literally laughable. Stuff like that is so laughable because it's like you clearly don't know me if you would
Yeah.
assume something like that about me, because who don't give a damn about money is me. But she she was just very particular. She was very, very particular. And so for me, I had to tell myself that all your other clients like it. It's just one person. So just because one person says something, it doesn't undo all the accomplishments that you've had with your
Yeah.
current and previous clients. And
And you
so it took
can't
me to realize
win. You can't win everybody. Like,
you really can't win everybody.
but I noticed that that's the thing. Like, I know, like, well, a couple of things. One, I know a lot of people that seek out like businesses like yours to help elevate their own business. They sometimes feel like you know how you guys have like a consultation fee, and a lot of these small businesses feel like that's a scam. It's like, well, I gotta pay to meet with you. But from you all's perspective, I get it. It's like, this is my time. But as a small business myself, like, I went to someone, but I paid it, but I was thinking in my head like, damn, I gotta, but I think it's a balance, like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
because obviously, like, a lot of small businesses, you're small, so you probably don't have no money.
right.
So it's like,
Yeah,
but also the person you're going to is also a small business. So it's like everybody trying to make a way for themselves. But like also, like, it's like if I paid for this consultation, I'm just expecting this to be great work. Like, I'm expecting this to be above and beyond for real, because it's
yeah,
like, I mean, to the best of their abilities, what it is, because it's like, just, yeah,
yeah.
if
You
I,
got to
if,
come with it. And
yeah,
that,
if I,
and for me, that's why I'm always shitting bricks, because I know
you
that
gotta
if
cut,
I'm paying
yeah,
you for a consultation, you better come and show me something. So
yeah,
I'm
it's,
always
yeah,
shitting bricks.
right, right. So, I think that's definitely a conversation that like small businesses and people with businesses like your own, like creative development, brand development businesses need to come to a compromise on. Like, they're not going to do their work for free. But at the same
Yeah.
time, these businesses, like, it's like, help them
Oh,
get to.
yeah, I mean, really and truly, like what happens, like I feel like the goal for the link up ultimately is that I would like to not have to charge people for a consultation. Like I
Yeah.
would like for it to be a situation where you can just have, I could be like a real resource where you just
Yeah.
have access to it, if not at least for a quick phone call or whatever it may be. And make no mistake about it, if somebody called me, like a new client wanted to call or whatever, I'm going to take that call, that 15-minute call, just to see what's going on. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm not answering that because you have to pay. That's where,
Right.
that's
It's
the
like,
balance that needs to come in.
yeah, it's like, like, hey, 20 minutes, can I talk to you about what my vision is? Like, I'm not gonna waste your time. It needs to just be two people that are about their business, in order, I feel like, to not have to charge a consultation fee, because
Yeah.
like also your time, you don't want your time being wasted, which is why I understand why uh you guys charge that fee, because it's like that's gonna kind of separate who's serious and who's not about getting
It
their
is
brand developed.
absolutely a filter. It is. It's so unfortunate. Like it's so unfortunate when you have to be a part of the system sometimes. Like
Yeah,
for me,
because
like
yeah,
yeah, it's
on
tough.
yeah, on the other side, it's just like, damn, like, I cannot pay. And I think that's something that's really hard for small businesses, because it's like, I have this business idea in mind, but it's like, what I like, don't nobody know how to apply for not saying no one knows how to apply for grants, but like, just thinking about all of that is just like, it's
Yeah,
overwhelming.
it is, girls. It's very overwhelming. real.
So, but I feel like, you know, when you have genuine people that are in your position that really wants the best for the business, you're not gonna get scammed, and you just really got it. So come to the link up, cause
Really and truly, there's no scamming going on here. Like it's no.
yeah,
But it's interesting because I have so many of my clients, particularly people that want like websites that come and say that they
yeah,
have been scammed. And it's like, how are you gonna start somebody's website and then not finish it?
yeah. It's
I,
like,
it's so sad. It's so sad. It's so
yeah,
sad. It happens so much within
yeah,
this community. And it's just like one of those things where you have to tell yourself, it's like with your recycling. Even if nobody else is recycling, I'm doing my part. So hey,
right,
I'm just gonna
right,
do my part to make sure that I'm running an honest and transparent and collaborative business.
right.
And how we manage our clients.
But you were talking about like, you know, so okay, so my question is, since we're on that subject, do you still get what is it called? Imposter syndrome, or like do you still deal with that imposter? Do you know imposter syndrome?
Girl, you gotta make me feel like a dog, like,
Okay, or self-doubt.
oh girl, what? Child, that's
Is that
like
where that comes from when you say like you get really nervous if they're gonna like it? Like I want to know that. I want to know what's something internal creatively that you struggle with.
I struggle with self-doubt. I'm always doubting myself that no matter what project it is, no matter what I'm working on, I feel like you're not doing this good enough. Like you have another, like I'm always feeling like there's another level in my potential that I can be
Yeah.
hitting with every project when really in hindsight, it's like the only way you're gonna get to that next level is if you don't do nothing else. You have to stop breathing to get to that level. So relax. So I go through self-doubt with every single project when I'm onboarding a client. If they call me and they're like, hey, I wanna, like for example, if I'm managing a social media and someone's like, I want to have a post or I want to do a giveaway. So whenever I have to, come up with the giveaway content and then I go to give them the content, before I hit send, shitting bricks.
Shitting bricks.
It happens. It happens again and again and again. And it's one of those things where you just learn how to manage it. And I know when it's happening to tell
Right.
myself, relax, hit send, and go get you something to drink because you ain't gonna.
Right.
So it happens. And to anybody going through it, just again, just be able to catch yourself, much like if you're having a negative thought and you want to stop and have a positive thought. If you're doubting yourself, instead of doubting yourself, gas yourself up. And
Right.
it'll
Yeah.
right out.
Change your perspective. Like, damn, what if I don't do well? But what if you do? Like, what if you do? You know? Um, and then I want to know, so are you truly happy with what you're doing? Are you
Girl, why did I feel like were you gonna be like, is he a little
see a part of the queer club? Fuck. Okay. Anyways. Damn.
okay, sorry, take. What did you say?
Are you happy with what you're doing? Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Great. You feel
I'm
like so you feel like you're doing your passion.
Yes, it's so interesting because I find myself telling people they're like, "Oh, what did you do today?" or "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Work," and I'm like, "Should I keep calling it work? Because it don't feel like
Right.
work to me.
Cause
It's like this is just I'm in my skis, like I'm doing me." So I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I'm really really happy, and I'm happy with what I'm doing because I know that it's just the beginning.
yeah.
We're 25 and 26. So it's like we only have so much.
I'm 26.
I said 25 and 26. So we only have so much more to go. Stop. Why are you making the same?
Oh my God, that is so funny. Not you
Since we're
being cash
recording, we're
doll
not
on
gonna
the
act
age.
right. I did not tell everybody that once I hit 25, I'm done
That's
aging.
who I am.
And y'all thought I was capping.
Okay, anyways, I'm 26, you're 25. What was you saying?
Yeah. So we only have so much more to go. So it's like, how can I not be happy with what I'm doing? How could we not be happy? We are creatives in our own right. You know, I like to think of myself as more like a business creative, but we're creatives in our own rights and we are passionate about it and we're pursuing it every day. So yeah, I'm happy. We happy.
Where do you see yourself in like where do you see these businesses going? Like what's the vision that you have? Because I know you can't, like share your vision with everybody, but also I believe in speaking things. So when you make it, I want people pull this up and give me a cut too for that. But yeah.
In the spirit of what you just said, and the fact that this is my first on camera interview, and I want it to be able to be something that maybe we can look back and a manifestation came out.
Mm-hmm.
So, the goal for the link up is to create a space for small businesses. And when I say a space, I mean a creative workspace, creative retail spaces. So spaces for these businesses that have either been or are link up clients, so where they can have actual brick and mortar for their businesses, but not to be permanently placed. So it's to take the idea of the pop-up and make it more like a small business hub where businesses are just coming in and out, but with actual retail space, brick and mortar,
Mm-hmm.
decked out as if they were actually setting up their own brick and mortar individually or independently, I should say. Um, and to just continue to grow small businesses and really change that narrative of, this is why I don't go to small businesses.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like, you don't go to small businesses because you've had one or two bad experiences. But really and truly, if that small business looked as good as that franchise and was dressed up and branded and marketed as good as that franchise, you would keep going back to the small business and sopping it up. So I
Right.
want to change the narrative for that. That is the goal for the link up. The goal for House of Deshaune, the goal for House of Deshaune really and truly is I don't
You don't want to say it or
I I want to say it. I just want to make sure that I don't give away all of my secret sauce.
I
My
mean, yeah, that's why I said I know how that is, when you
I would
got when you
just so let
already
me
got
say
something
this.
up your sleeve. Yeah, just give us a little.
The goal for House of Deshaun is to obviously continue to add new inventory and new styles and to not just be sunglasses. We want to be a full-fledged fashion house. And so by fashion house, I mean, yes, my label is in there, but to then bring on other smaller labels that either A, maybe don't want to go through the hassle of running a label. They just want to create.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's someone that just wants to be a part of the brand, but to open up the doors of the house to other brands, and in doing so, help propel fashion into the direction that I believe that we're going, which is looking more to our stars and our planets around us.
Nice. Okay. And then to wrap up this interview, well, first before I wrap up, um, no, I'll do this first. Okay. So we're at the end of the interview. I just want to play a quick game.
Oh, okay, come on,
It's this or that. So I'm
game.
gonna say something and you just tell me which one. Okay. So first, would you rather do you okay, I'm just say it. I don't even have to. But okay, painting or drawing?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh,
drawing,
drawing.
drawing, yeah.
Okay. 2D animation or 3D animation?
You know what? This is so ironic. I'm gonna say 2D animation from a House
I
of
knew you
Deshaun
would.
standpoint.
You said what?
From a House of Deshaun standpoint. Catch that T. That's exclusive T.
Oh,
Catch that.
okay. Okay. Would you rather go on a date night to a museum, or would you rather go see a play, like a play at a theater?
Let me pause and give my man 2 seconds to comment before I comment. Let me see how well you know me.
Come on, kid.
Okay. No, but for real, museum. And
Museum.
we've actually done that before, but museum.
Okay. And last question, would you rather live in a world with no TV or in a world with no music?
Damn.
I know it's messed up.
I'm gonna say no TV.
Yeah.
And my mom won't believe that I said that, but no TV.
Yeah. It's like we need music, you know?
Need music because it's like when I go to the gym, I gotta have that Megan Thee Stallion. What is that? What was the album? Fever? Was that was that what she
Yeah.
took over the summer? That I
Yeah.
have to have that when I'm in the gym. How can I not?
How can I not?
And when I'm working, how am I not gonna have City Girls saying, "Y'all need to tighten up"? Like I have to hear that at
Yeah.
the start of the workday, or did I even work?
Or did I? Okay. Well, that pretty much concludes my interview. Thank you for joining us today, Alante Jones. And for everyone listening, please, and watching, please make sure you support the House of Deshaune, and the link of those links to the websites will be in the caption below. Bye y'all.